Okay, I finished my chevron A twice. If you're having a trouble getting to this part, you can always ask for help in my Facebook group or Ravelry group, or send me a message on Instagram. There's more clever people in the Facebook group than if you just personally message me, but I am willing to be slightly clever as well. So it's up to you. All right, we are now on the section I call dark arrows because it's a filled in arrow. It's dark, that's all. You will see that I have the stitch marker here. This is on row 20 for me. Remember that the dark colors are even numbers, so this is actually 0. Then counting by 2 is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So that one here is 20. And then dark is 2, 4, which means we are actually on row 25. And I'm going to be starting with my contrasting color. And this is a little bit of a boring start. It's just going to be making some lines. However, you do have to keep those 3 border lines on each side straight. So we're going to start with our joining stitch, of course, like always. And then we're going to do a single, double, and then 2 singles. If you want to move your stitch marker, if you're keeping track of your repeats, that's where our star is going to repeat. Sorry, I split my yarn. I gotta try again. 1, 2. So this is where we'd put the star. Or, because these are all single crochets, you don't really need to count. My piece is curling quite a bit. I guess it's my tension. But that's okay. So I'm not actually going to count because it's just going to go all the way to the end, and then we're going to make those border stitches again. So this would be I think of them as freebie rows, which is kind of funny because I'm like, oh good, it's finally an easy one. But I actually like the challenging ones as well. It's just nice to have it different, I guess. It is also nice for me to babble at you guys. Nobody's interrupting me. No child is tugging on me saying they need something. So I just take the opportunity to talk. It's not quite the same as having a real conversation. One of these days I want to try doing more lives on Facebook or YouTube or something. So all right, we're getting close. Here we go. You can see that this is our long strong ones. We're going to put a single crochet so that the purple one can be strong later, and this one we're going to make the line drop down here and single crochet in the back again and stitch here. Now, if you're just joining in for whatever reason, you've watched me crochet a row and you're like, what is this woman doing? This is part of my summer direction crochet along. This is overlay mosaic crochet. I have tutorial or walkthrough for 2 techniques for the same pattern. And this happens to be, we've already started a project, so check out my other videos if you don't know what's going on. If you're new to the technique, check out my tutorial videos as well, because I don't go too into depth about what we're doing here. I'm just mostly focused on the pattern. Row 26 now is pretty much the same as the previous row, except for our border stitches are slightly different because now we're making the purple ones stand out. So we're going to do 1 double and 1 single. Then we're going to do it again. That's what the bracket's telling us to do, times 2. 1 double. Oh, my yarn's being funny. And 1 single. Make sure you skip the one that you've covered up with a double crochet. You always have to skip that loop. Now you could count them if you want, but again, this is just another straight line. It's just going all the way across. It's late at night here. My kids are all sleeping. Thought I'd try to get these videos done. I'm already behind schedule, so this crochet along isn't going to be exactly how I had imagined it, but I do hope that it is still useful for y'all. I don't usually say y'all. I only do it in videos. It's like I put on a different persona. I don't know. Put on my acting hat. All right, we're getting close to the end. I haven't been counting. Maybe you've been counting and you know how many we're done, but I just know that I want to keep this purple light, and this is the purple, so I know But I don't want to use that one because I want to do a drop down to keep my border edges double, single, double, and an end stitch. Don't forget the end stitch. And now we are going to finally be doing something more interesting than some lines. Row 27 starts with like actually creating a pattern. We're going to start, of course, with our joining stitch. Make sure you get it right under. I did mention that earlier, but I like to remind you because it's a mistake that I make frequently, therefore other people probably make it as well. So single crochet in the back loop, double, it's really a dropped double crochet, then 2 singles, and if you're using a stitch marker to keep track of your repeats, that would be where you stick it. Now we're going to do 7 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to drop it. So again, this is hard for some people to keep them lined up. This is the loop you want to use right here. 1 double, 1 single, 1 double, then 8 singles, which if you're doing a repeat, you're actually going to have groups of 15 before you do those double, single, double again. So you might want to keep track of either the repeats if you're using like a visual cue, or if you're putting your stitch marker. It's up to you how you do it. We are right at the end here. We're going to, that's where you, I guess if you want another stitch marker, I don't know. This is the border. So we're going to do single, oops, I don't know. Let's try again. Single, double, single, and the end stitch. Goes quick if you're only doing 1 repeat. I can't wait to see some of the blankets you guys are all going to make. I thought even maybe a shawl would work if you only did like half of the width and then you use the length to go across your arm span, you know. But it's up to you what you want to do with your piece. Here we go. We're going to put the joining stitch in here. I know some of you are wondering about all these tails. You have lots of options. People sometimes crochet over them, weave them in, put an envelope border. There's lots of different options. I have a video on creating an envelope border, and these ones are short, so I wouldn't be able to make fringe necessarily with them. I have left longer ones, and I have like a hair braider, but that has nothing to do with the pattern right now. Keep focused. Row 28, main color. We're going to start with that joining stitch, and then our brackets tell us to do 1 double and 1 single, and then it says do it again. So we're going to do double and a single. And we're going to do, now we're going to do, if you put your stitch marker now, we're going to do another 8 singles. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th single crochet goes right above that previous one. Then we put 1 drop double crochet right between those 2. And then 9 single crochets on this side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's the end of the star, so this is where you'd repeat it over and over and over and over again. But I'm at the end, so I'm going to do 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, another double crochet, and my end stitch. There we go. So we are now on row 29. I'm using my contrasting color. I'm going to keep that tail out of the way. Some people do crochet over the tails, just right here. They'd put it along the back and they go over it. I don't really like it, so I just leave them loose and free. So we're going to start with a single crochet and a double crochet, of course, to keep those lines. And then we do 2 more single crochets before the star. And then we're going to add another 7. So it's going to be a total of 9 here at the beginning, but when you're doing your repeats, you're going to do 7. So that's why this is where you would put your stitch marker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This double crochet is going to line up with the one below. And then we're going to do 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. In this double crochet, you can see our post. And then we didn't use that loop, and we didn't use that loop. So this is the one we're going to use. And then we have 6 more across. Single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the end of our star. So then we're going to finish our border with single, double, single, and the end stitch. There we go. Now this dark arrows section is longer than the chevron section. But you can do it. I know you can. I have faith in you. Row 30, of course, is an even number row. We're using our main color. We're going to do our joining stitch, and then the brackets are telling us to do it twice. Double, single, double, single. Oh, there we go. 1 and 2. And then our star. So we're going to do 8 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The double crochet is going to line up with the one from the row, 2 rows before, I guess. So double, single, double. Essentially we're staying inside the lines. The blue lines are going to be around the purple. I don't know if that helps you thinking of what the picture actually looks like, or if you just like to count. So we're going to do single crochet 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's where you put your stitch marker. Starting at the end when you do 8 more, right? 15. But we are now on the border. So double, single, double, and the end stitch. Joining stitch right on the end there. And oh, our bracket telling us to do single double this time. It's kind of flipped the instructions around, but the concept is the same. You just repeat it twice. So again, single double, single double. That's where we'd put our stitch marker. We are going to now count 13. Make sure you're skipping that one in the back. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then our double crochet, it goes down here. You can see if you're paying attention to the previous rows trying to find the loop. This one we didn't use, and then that's the one we're going to pick up. So now we're going to do another 3 single crochets. Make sure you skip that one so you're not adding stitches. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to have a dropped one. If you're at the end, you'll have this to know, but if you're at the repeats, then it's actually the same stitch as this, right? And that's where the star tells us now to just do single, double, and single. Of course, if I have to get under the stitch, there we go. And don't forget your end stitch. You'd be surprised how many times I forget it. And then I get to the next row and I have nowhere to put my end stitch because I haven't done the one from the row before. We're at a joining stitch for our row 32. We're using our main color. Our bracket's telling us to do one double, one single, 2 times. So this is the first one and the first one. Then we're going to do it the second time and the second time. Then we have the star. So now this is where you would repeat from. If you're doing like 9 repeats for a blanket, you'll have to put a stitch marker so that you remember not to count this one with it. So we're going to do it 6 times. We're going to do double, single 6 times. I like to count them when there's lots of them. I start with this as my 1, and then I just count this as and. So it reminds me that I have to do something, but it doesn't interrupt my counting. So 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and don't forget that and if that's how you're doing it. Now then it says 1 more double crochet with 5 single crochets. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's our 5th. That's the end of our star. So this is where you'd be coming back here. I'm at the end, so I'm just going to do those 3 border lines with a double, a single, and a double. There we go. And an end stitch, of course, before we cut our yarn. I like to give it quite a good tug, and I've heard that if you tug them sort of in the down direction it helps, but I don't know, my piece gets pretty curly. It's just the tension. You can try straighten them out. You can block your piece after. If you have a bigger blanket, it probably isn't being quite so crazy. It does make it annoying for the video, so I apologize. I'm not really sure. Maybe we'll blame it on the yarn. I don't know. It's probably just me. User error, right? Row 33, contrasting color. Always starting with our joining stitch, our nice stripy side there. You can see I did have a stitch marker here at row 20. You can do it every 10 if you like, which then you'd have one up here, but I like to do every 20 just because I'm too lazy to go get my stitch markers all the time. So we've got single, double, single, double, and then that's where we'd put, if you have your repeats, of course, and maybe you're getting bored of listening to me say that. Now we're going to do 15 single crochet. 1, 2, remember always those back loops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. There we go. So if you're visually looking at it, you got that purple double crochet, then you have 2 more single crochets before we're going to do our drop. And then we're going to do another single. Oopsies, don't lose your, there you go. Single, and then a double. So this is where those stitch markers come in handy if you are trying to do repeats and count your stitches because they're similar, right? And that's the end of my star. So I'm going to finish off with a single and a double and a single before my end stitch under both the loops. The end stitch is nice and strong. Cut my yarn off and moving on. We got our joining stitch. Brackets are telling us to do double single twice. Double single, double single. That's where you'd put your stitch marker to remember that now we're doing 6 more of the brackets, which is not to be counted with these ones. So it can get confusing. I know that some people, they will look at that and say, it's way too confusing, I can't do it, and they don't even start. But I really think it's worth it to try, especially when I'm here counting with you. You can look at what mine looks like, you can look at what yours look like, you can use visual cues, the paper that says this is the stitches. You got lots of information here. I know you can do it, and you're going to make something cool. All right? So, now I was babbling, but if you had a stitch marker, you would know that it went right here, and that this repeats as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. My yarn is splitting again, sorry. 6. And now we're out of the brackets, so it says do 1 double crochet with 3 singles. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 1 double crochet and a single. So this is why the stitch markers matter, because this looks like 1 and, but you're actually counting it not as part of that 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, right? So 6 here, 1 here. When you're doing your repeats, you're going to look like you have 7, plus you'll have this one, which is really, it doesn't get count. So you can't count just the front stitches, you can't just count the back ones. It is confusing to do those counts, so try not to beat yourself up if it gets too much. But we are at the end of our row, so we're going to just do those straight lines telling us that that's the border. Double, single, double, end. I'm sure you are very used to that now. We're on row 35. We're using our contrasting color, of course, because it's an odd number. Odd number rows, always using our contrasting color. Doing our join stitch. Then we have single, double, single, double. The brackets are telling us to do it twice. Then the star, we're going to put 13 single crochets right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, my yarn's a bit tight. I don't like it when it pulls on my finger. 11, 12, and 13. Then we'll have 1 double crochet, 3 singles, and a final double crochet before the end of our star. So you're going to repeat it until you get to the end. Then we're just putting our border lines, single, double, single, end. Row 36, main color, which is my dark one. Joining stitch here. Brackets are telling us to do this twice. We're going to go 1 dropped double crochet, 1 single crochet in the back loop, then again 1 dropped double crochet, and 1 single crochet in the back loop. Then our star tells us to do 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our double crochet is going to drop down. You can see that we're creating an arrow. You line it all the way up. So we're going to single, and another double, and 3 singles. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do double single, okay? 1 and 2 and that's the star. So if you're repeating, you're going to start back at the beginning star. I'm at the end, so I'm going to do my border. Double, single, double, and stitch. Oops, there we go. Row 37, joining stitch here. There we go, single, double, and 2 singles. That's where we put our stitch marker for the star to start. Now, oops, I don't need to yarn over. I get carried away sometimes. So we're going to do 7 more singles for the total of 9 up here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's our 7th one because this is 9 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But that star is interrupting them. We are going to drop down to do our double crochet. We're putting the border around the arrow. And then these 3 singles, because they have to hide. Next row they'll be hiding. And then a double crochet here. And then 6 single crochets. Of course, you'll be doing more if you're repeating, but I'm going to do 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then that's the end of my star. I'm at the end of the row. And do single, double, single, and stitch. Back to our main color. You can do more colors if you just make sure everything contrasts so that you can see the design, or maybe one color will be solid and the other colors will be mixy-matchy. Just as long as they're good contrast, you'll be able to see the design come out. We're going to join stitch, then we're going to do our border lines. Double, single, double, single. That's where our star starts. So now we're doing again double, single, double, single, double, single, double, single. We're going to count them 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we're going to do 1 double, oopsies, get it in there, and 3 singles. 1, 2, 3. Then we're back to our brackets telling us to do double, single, double, single. And again, just part of the next arrow you can see. You probably can see a little bit more happening with your repeats, but that's what mine looks like so far. So that's the end of the stars. Then we're going to finish our border with double single, double, end stitch. You probably memorized that part by now. Row 39, we've got our coordinating color. Go joining stitch under both loops right near that knot. And then we're going to go single, double, single, two. Then we're going to add another 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we have double, single, and double. It goes right around the point on that arrow. And we're going to put 8 more single crochet across. Of course, you are going to be interrupting a row of 15. You'll have a stitch marker in between there. But we're just going to do 8 if I could pay attention to my stitches. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's where our star. Then we're going to do, because we're at the end, we're going to do our single, double, single for our very fancy 3-line border. And end stitch, of course. Now, row 40 is where I would like to put a stitch marker, but because I need to still use the stitches when I do the next row, I actually don't put the stitch marker here until I start row 41. So we're going to do double, single, double, single. Then that's where the star comes in, and it tells us to do it 3 times in the brackets. So here we go. One and 2 and 3 and so you can see, actually I was going to mention it earlier, there's these dots that are, it's a solid arrow but it's actually got dots in it. With Mosaic Crochet you could fill those in if you really wanted to. I don't, because of the interlocking crochet, because this is written for 2 techniques. This is just how interlocking crochet works, and instead of redrawing the chart, I just do it the same way for both. And our eyes visually, we know that this is a solid arrow, even though it has those polka dots in it. It also keeps me from having long stretches with a flap. So I really do like to keep it like that, but you can do whatever you want. It's your pattern, it's your blanket or scarf or whatever you're making. Now we've done, this is where our stitch marker would have been, so we've done our 3 in the brackets. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet with 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're back to brackets. We're going to do double single, 1 and 2 and 3. Don't forget the and. That's the star, so then you go back. Mine is going to just end these border lines. Double, single, double, and stitch. Cut that off. This is row 41, using my accent color. I'm going to put my joining stitch in, and this is why I didn't put the stitch marker on row 40, because I don't like having them in the way. So I'm going to do my single crochet, double crochet, and then I'll do 2 more singles. And then since I have to put the work down, because maybe you'd be adding your stitch marker for those repeats or whatever. Then I will put my stitch marker in to count my rows on the side. I don't actually like these ones. They're too pokey, but I have a lot of them, so I use them anyways. And I just put it right into that purple one so that when I'm counting my rows, I can count by 20. I know this is 20. This is now row 40. And this would be the beginning of our star repeat. So we're going to do another 7 single crochet in the back loop, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll do 1 double crochet with 3. So we go 1, oops, my yarn split. Try again. 1, 2, 3, and we're dropping 1 more double crochet down. We'll do 6 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, my yarn. Oh, that's silly yarn. It really is silly. And of course, that's the end of our star. So we're going to finish off our border lines with single, double, single, and our end stitch right on the side. Row 42. You got those brackets at the beginning, of course. So after our joining stitch, we're going to do double, single, double, single. Then we're going to put 14 more single crochets all the way across here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There we go. Then we're having double single, double single. That's our star, telling us that we're now at the end of our blanket, possibly for me. Double, single, double, end. We're getting close to being done this section, or at least the complicated part of this section. We only have a couple more rows, and then we have a few more stripy rows, so they're pretty easy to do, the stripy ones. This one is row 45. We have brackets telling us to do single, double before we start the star, the repeating star. Okay, I should pay attention. Single, double. Yep. Then we're going to do 13 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you can see it's gonna bump up against that dark purple. So double 1, then single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Then our final double crochet before the end of our star, you're going to go back and do your single crochet 13. I am at the border lines, so we'll just go single, double, single. I think I mentioned in a different video, the border lines are like that, again, because of the interlocking crochet method. I know some Mosaic Crochet patterns, they really don't have those lines, and you don't really need them for this type of a pattern. But that's how that other technique works, and I do like the look of it as well. So I don't change my patterns for the two techniques because they work for both. So this one is going to be pretty easy to count. We're going to put our joining stitch in. We're going to double single before that star. Now you might be able to just use visual cues, but if you want to count with me, this is where the star is going to start here, and we're going to put 16 single crochet. Oh, I got a little weird there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So you can see there was a blue one. We're going to do 2. And then right before the next blue one, we're going to drop it down once. There we go. Double. And then we have 1 single, but the star interrupts. It's all singles again. There's only that 1 dropped. So you're going to repeat that over and over till you get to your border. There we go. Oh dear. There we go. Missed my hook. Double. Single. Double. And the end stitch. So of course we start with our joining stitch. We got brackets telling us single double single double. Then we're going to put 15 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So if you're looking for a visual cue, it's right before that purple one. We're outlining the arrow, right? So we go double, single, and double. So this one has 2 doubles, but they're really just going on either side of that one. So when you repeat, you'll have another bunch of single crochets, and then of course when we get to the end, we'll make those 3 lines so that purple, blue, and purple can be straight on the edges. Our joining stitch. Now you might think that you can skip these next ones. You're like, oh, I don't need straight lines. And that's fine. If you really want to skip them, then you're going to have to pay attention to your own numbers. You can do whatever you like. It's your project. But they are part of the design because when you look at it as a whole, I think the spacing of everything makes it look better. So this is still part of the design. I know it's a little boring to just do single crochets, but it is, I don't know. It just is what it is, okay? So we're going to do double, single. And you don't really need to count if you have a bunch of repeats. It should be easy. You're just doing your border, and then you're going singles all the way across. So you don't really need to count them unless you want to really make sure you haven't missed a stitch. I'm not sure. For something small like this, I might count out loud or count in my head. For a blanket, I probably wouldn't because I'd be bored of counting. And then I might lose my place if I get bored of counting, and then that's worse than counting. Worse than not counting. These are boring babbles today, I'm sorry. I might try to edit it out, but I probably won't because then it would be so silent and then people are like, well, what's going on? Why is it so quiet? And the reality is it's just that I'm tired. It's just late at night from trying to do this while my kids are sleeping. So now you don't have to count because you know that all we're doing is a double for these lines. Double, single, and double. So you just keep going singles until you get to that one stitch that you need, which happens to be this one here. Make our border edges. And then the blue one, the only difference is how you're doing the border edges. Otherwise, it's all single crochets again. So we're going to join, and then, come on, finish, there we go. We go single, double, and then you could count them before the stars if you like, but it's all just single crochets. So this is 1, 2, then the star interrupts it, but we're going to keep going. $17, $18. However, now that you're at the border, you're going to add another one, right? So the counting can be, doesn't really need to be counted. You can just pay attention to what it looks like on the border. Just do our single, double, end stitch, you know, all that good jazz. And our final row is using our main color again, and it's exactly the same as row 46. But now we're calling it row 48. So it goes all the way across. Make your border lines, double, single, double, and then just single crochets all the way across until you get to those border lines on the other side. That is the end of the dark arrows. Now I know some of you are going to be watching this video way far in the future. I'm talking to the future now. You can mix and match. You can do whatever you like. This just happens to be part of my summer direction crochet along. So I know I'm going to see it pop up that people are going to use these for other things. That's fun. You can show us your work in my Facebook group, even if you're like, well, I skipped that section and whatever. That, you can see, this is our blue one, so we know that right in front of it is where we need to keep that strong double, single, double, and then that's our final end stitch. And the next section, I'll give you a spoiler. If you want to do the next section, we already have a video out for it. It's just chevronné again. So next time I have a video for you, your row numbers are going to be up high because you're going to keep going. But that's where we're at. Our nice dark arrows. It's not that ominous.